Imagine you are asleep in your own bed. In the dead of night, a low rumble vibrates through the walls. Suddenly, the packed dirt floor of your home splits open, exposing a roaring 1,000-degree heat source directly beneath your feet. For most of the world, this is a nightmare. For the residents of Jharia, India, it is a lived reality. Beneath this region, over 70 distinct coal seam fires are currently raging out of control. Many of them have been burning continuously since 1916. The sheer heat radiating from the ground turns the soil above into a brittle, hollow crust. The surface temperature often rises so high that it can melt the rubber off the shoes of passing pedestrians. What began as a series of industrial oversights a century ago has evolved into a permanent geological emergency, turning daily survival into a walk across the rim of an active volcano. The physical flames are only the most visible threat. Through thousands of cracks in the earth, a cocktail of carbon monoxide, methane, and sulfur dioxide spews constantly into the air. Generations of locals have been forced to breathe this toxic haze. Clinical records in Jharia report a near-total prevalence of chronic asthma and skin lesions, leading to a spike in premature deaths directly linked to the air quality. The ground itself is entirely unstable. As the fires hollow out the earth, massive sinkholes form without warning. Entire railway lines, schoolyards, and temple courtyards have collapsed into burning pits overnight. Recognizing the extreme danger, the Indian government declared the region entirely unsafe for human habitation. Yet more than 100,000 families still live directly on top of this burning landscape. How a booming industrial hub was allowed to catch fire and burn for 100 years is a tragedy of economics. Why so many people refuse to leave is something far more complex. To understand the origin of the fires, we have to look back to the late 19th century. Under British colonial rule, Jharia was identified as one of India's richest deposits of prime coking coal, the specific fuel needed to power the empire's railways and steel mills. Driven by the demand for maximum profit, private mine operators utilized reckless open-cast and shallow underground mining techniques. They stripped away the easiest coal, leaving vast empty seams dangerously exposed to the open air. In 1916, at the Bowra Colliery, a chemical process called spontaneous combustion occurred. When highly reactive coal is left exposed, it naturally absorbs and reacts with the oxygen in the air, generating its own heat until it physically ignites. Instead of being isolated and smothered, the fire found a perfect environment. Because the operators had dug a sprawling, interconnected maze of underground tunnels, the flames spread horizontally through the coal seams directly beneath the forests and villages above. Colonial economic greed prioritized rapid extraction over long-term safety, sparking a geological chain reaction that has proven impossible to reverse. The mechanics of this disaster operate on a feedback loop. As a subterranean coal seam burns, it turns thousands of tons of solid rock into brittle ash, leaving a massive, unsupported void deep underground. Eventually, the weight of the surface becomes too much. The overlying rock layers suddenly collapse into the void below, a geological process known as subsidence. This is what creates Jharia's deadly sinkholes. These collapses stretch up to 100 meters vertically, acting as massive chimneys. They pull fresh oxygen down into the mine, feeding isolated fire pockets that modern thermal imaging suggests can reach temperatures as high as 4,000 degrees Celsius. The destruction of 37 million tons of prime coal has left a multi-billion-dollar hole in the nation's energy reserves. But the local reality is defined by a different kind of math. Driven by extreme poverty, residents survive by illegally scavenging the very coal that is destroying their town. Children as young as 5 navigate the unstable pit walls, gathering hot coal near fissures to sell in local markets for a few rupees, risking horrific cave-ins every single day. The fire has incinerated a fortune in natural resources, while simultaneously forcing the region's poorest families into a deadly intimacy with the Inferno. To solve the humanitarian crisis, the government launched the Jharia Master Plan, designed to relocate more than 100,000 families to save housing. The rescue effort has stalled. In Belgaria, the primary resettlement township, progress has been slow. Many of the newly constructed buildings are already decaying, and residents report frequent power cuts and a lack of clean water. Relocation creates an impossible economic paradox. These townships are built far away from the coalfields, isolated from viable job markets. Without the ability to scavenge or trade, relocated families face a different kind of threat: total loss of livelihood. Knowing that moving means losing their only source of income, thousands of impoverished families fiercely resist the government's relocation efforts. They choose to stay in their crumbling, smoke-filled ancestral homes, preferring the known danger of the fire to the certainty of economic ruin. And while the town slowly burns and the residents suffer, industrial operations continue. Major coal companies maintain massive open-cast extraction sites directly adjacent to the active burning zones, prioritizing the remaining coal reserves. A combination of bureaucratic delays and lack of economic foresight has trapped the people of Jharia. They are forced to choose between isolation in a safe concrete block or earning a meager living inside a volcano. Over the decades, mining engineers have tried everything to extinguish the flames. They pumped nitrogen gas into shafts, dug firebreak trenches, and capped the surface with sand. Nothing has worked. The fire persists because the underground reserves are simply too vast. With billions of tons of coal still sitting beneath the surface, the Inferno has an endless, virtually unlimited fuel supply. This abstract from a 2025 study in the International Journal of Scientific Research quantifies the damage. Researchers estimate these fires release nearly 750 million tons of CO2 equivalent into the atmosphere every year, positioning Jharia as one of the single largest sources of greenhouse gas and toxic heavy metal pollution on the planet. The century-old fires of Jharia stand as a sobering global warning about unconstrained fossil fuel extraction. It lays bare the reality of what happens when vulnerable communities are left on the front lines of environmental collapse. If you found this deep dive into India's burning ghost town fascinating, subscribe to join us as we explore more dark history. And let us know in the comments below, what is more terrifying, a natural disaster from the sky, or one exploding from deep underground? Until a solution is found, Jharia will continue to burn. It remains an endless inferno, a glowing, unhealing scar of human exploitation carved directly into the earth.